When people think about family wealth, they often imagine building a huge fortune so their kids, grandkids, and great-grandkids never have to work. But the truth is different. Studies show that 70% of rich families lose their money by the second generation, and 90% lose it by the third. This pattern, called rags to rags, shows that wealth usually doesn't last more than 3 generations without careful planning. This article explains why family wealth disappears, the stages it goes through, and simple ways to make it last for many years. Where wealth starts: hard times and strength. Most wealth stories begin with tough times, not money. This isn't T about missing a fun trip. It is about struggling to buy food or losing everything because of one bad year. From the famous Rockefellers to today's tech startup founders, big fortunes often come from unstable and scary times. For the first generation, wealth isn't about fancy things or looking important. It's about staying safe. These people know the pain of losing a home, facing medical bills they can't pay, or being stuck with debts. That memory changes how they think, making money a way to protect themselves from trouble, not a way to spend. Experts call this a fear of losing what you have. People who've faced hard times see money as a shield, pushing them to work harder, smarter, and faster than others who haven't struggled. First-generation wealth is about building a strong wall to keep out the chaos they left behind. They focus on never feeling helpless again. History shows this. In the 1800s, European immigrants worked long hours to buy land for security. And in the 1980s, Vietnamese refugees saved every penny, sometimes living in their small shops to build a stable future. Their drive comes from seeing suffering and promising their kids will never face it. The first generation: careful choices and giving up. Comfort for the first generation building wealth is slow and careful. They make smart, small decisions that keep them safe instead of showing off, buying one house instead of many, growing their business only when needed, and spending little even when others expect them to show their success. Some put money into things that grow in value, like rare watches, old cars, or art. For example, the Rothschild family collected paintings and fancy furniture, keeping their wealth safe for 7 generations in 250 years, even through wars and tough times. John D. Rockefeller's family also collected modern art, and one collection sold for $835 million in 2018, the biggest sale of its kind ever. Many first-generation wealth builders never stop thinking about survival. Even when they have enough money to stop working, they keep working, saving, and giving up luxuries, afraid that relaxing could ruin everything. A construction business owner might live in a simple house even though they're worth millions, or a tech business owner might still use coupons after selling their company. This carefulness creates a strong base for wealth, built on habits, stories, and lessons. For them, money isn't tied to a reward to show off. It is a shield that lets them say no to bad deals, avoid risks, and live without fear. The second generation: getting too comfortable. When wealth passes to the second generation, their thinking changes. The first generation faced danger and hard work. Their kids grow up with plenty. Safety is something they're born with, not something they earned, and this changes how they see money. Since they've never known tough times, they think money will always be there, not something that can disappear. This idea, called the problem of inherited safety, makes them less likely to learn the strength, careful planning, and patience that made the wealth. The saying rags to rags is true in many places because of this change in thinking. Studies show 70% of family wealth is gone by the second generation because of overconfidence, feeling entitled, and confusion about who they are. Kids might think being rich makes them smart, believe their money will never run out, or care too much about looking wealthy instead of building something real. History proves this. Cornelius Vanderbilt had the biggest fortune in 1800s America, but his family lost most of it in a few generations because of wild spending and bad money choices. By 1973, none of his family were millionaires. But some families avoid this trap. The Waltons, who inherited Walmart's wealth, kept their money safe with trusts, family offices, and teaching kids about money early. They kept personal spending separate from business money, focusing on taking care of the wealth instead of spending it. Successful second generations learn how their wealth was made and how to protect it, using tools like trusts, family rules, and planning groups. In Japan, banks make 300-year plans to help families think long-term. The Rockefellers family office made smart investments and taught their kids well, keeping their wealth for over 100 years. The third generation, weakness and breaking apart. By the third generation, wealth is very weak, money-wise, family-wise, and emotionally. The original builders are gone, and there are many more heirs, splitting the wealth into smaller pieces. These heirs, born rich, don't understand what their money is worth, thinking it's theirs forever. They hear stories about how the wealth was made, but they don't feel the struggle, so they drift away from the values that created it. Without rules, learning, or a shared goal, they make big mistakes, breaking businesses into weak parts, selling investments to live fancy lives, or fighting over who gets what, which tears the family apart. The Woolworth and Post families show this. Frank Woolworth's huge store business and C.W. Post's cereal company were mostly gone by the third generation because of careless spending, bad choices, and not keeping up with changes. Wealth doesn't last on its own. It falls apart without care. Third-generation heirs often grow up with people like nannies who let them feel too important, making them think they don't need to work hard. Without a goal, their wealth disappears with them. Breaking the pattern. Ways to keep wealth. Forever families that beat this pattern use 3 clear ideas: teaching responsibility, changing with the times, and keeping the family together. First, they teach heirs early about how the wealth was made, how it's used, and what happens if it's not handled well. They give heirs real jobs, like helping with investments or charity work, or hire experts but keep heirs involved. The Rothschilds kept wealth for centuries with smart partnerships and new ideas, while the Cargill family, who own a huge private company, use strict rules to stay united. Second, strong families change with the world. They know the business that made the wealth might not work forever, so they help heirs start new businesses or invest in new areas like clean energy or technology. They see wealth as something to use, not just keep. The DuPont family moved from making gunpowder to chemicals, showing how change keeps wealth alive. Third, these families focus on talking and working together. They use family meetings or planning groups to make clear rules about sharing money, choosing leaders, and solving fights. They teach heirs about money and how to handle feelings, so they see wealth as something to care for, not use up. The Mars family, who make candies, has a family plan that sets rules and goals to keep everyone on the same page. Building a lasting legacy. Family wealth isn't something that just stays. It's a system that needs constant work. 3 generations is the usual limit, but it doesn't have to be. Builders need to make strong plans, not just tell stories. Trusts protect money from being spent too fast. Rules stop fights. And teaching about money helps heirs make good choices. Instead of giving money for an easy life, give skills, values, and knowledge. Don't make future generations copy the first business. Teach them to be careful and responsible, then let them try new things for their time. Wealth should be a family project, not one person's prize. Show it as a way to help the family, community, and world, giving everyone a shared goal. Giving to causes, like schools or green projects, can give heirs a bigger purpose, like the Gates family did with their foundation, which goes beyond their company's success. With good plans, strong teaching, and openness to change, wealth can last not just 10 or 20 generations, but maybe forever. It's up to the builder. Your kids want to have the same tough drive you had from hard times. So give them a new goal, a legacy that grows, changes, and makes a difference in the world.